What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Thursday, July 8th. Now, I want to bring a very interesting story to you today because there's a lot of discussions on, okay, are we going to get this fourth stimulus check? When's it coming? Are we going to see additional relief to the American people, or will this only go to parents and children? Well, that's creating a huge discussion. And so there's actually some talks, and this is actually coming from a couple reports, and these are talks from White House officials. So I want to bring that to you in a minute. But let's get into the update as to what we are seeing, what the talks are looking like, and how we are progressing towards infrastructure and additional stimulus. First off, hopefully you guys are having an incredible week. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. If you could, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. It really just helps out the channel. Now here's what we know. Today, the new unemployment numbers came out, the new unemployment claims numbers. They came out at 373,000 new unemployment claims. These are first-time claims. This was expected to be 350,000, so we actually exceeded this. The number was too high by roughly 23,000 people. That isn't too bad. However, unemployment claims have been declining over the past couple of months, which is always great. The initial unemployment claims, although, continue to go up and down, and so some are wondering what is the reason for this. According to experts, they say that this is most likely due to the fact that there is a large transition happening right now across the United States. Some people who have been at their job for the past, let's say, year. They stuck with their job because it was guaranteed. They received an income. They knew it. It was something that they were comfortable with. Well, a lot of these people are now trying to transition. And by transitioning to different jobs and by quitting, you don't qualify for unemployment. Okay? But here's the big thing. When one employer or employee transitions, what's going to happen is the employer is going to bring in more and more applicants and people to try out for that position. If they don't work, they let them go. So even though you may quit a job, go to the next one, try it, and it's like, oh, it's not working out. All right, well, we're going to have to let you go, or we're not going to extend you any longer. So that's what's happening at this point. Also, we are seeing some summer jobs just completely go away, because as people get hired as a seasonal employee, what happens is if the new or the previous employee comes back and wants their full-time position back, what's going to happen is the seasonal employees, and they're usually going to be teens or people with a little bit less qualifications, well, they get canned, and the previous employer or the employer now brings in the previous employee, and then things kind of go down that rabbit hole as well. So there's a lot of issues happening with unemployment and employment at this time. Now here's something else. President Biden has stated that he really wants to see the American Jobs Plan pass. And you're probably thinking, well, of course he does. It's his plan. But here's what you need to understand. He wants to see this pass because he understands if this bipartisan bill, this American Jobs Plan, doesn't pass, not only does it negatively impact the United States and it actually makes us less competitive, but it is also because the American Families Plan is technically tied to this. Even though President Biden has stated that these two are not linked, the American Families Plan, the American Jobs Plan, they're not linked together. They can be passed separately if the House and Senate plan to do that. President Biden will sign whatever hits his desk first. However, what you need to understand is the American Families Plan, this will never pass. It will never pass. And this is something that many progressives have stated. The American Families Plan will not pass without passing alongside the American Jobs Plan. The American Jobs Plan cannot pass first. Can't pass first. Because progressives, and specifically Nancy Pelosi, will not actually put this on the floor. Progressives will not support it. Nancy Pelosi won't even bring it to the floor of the House if the two bills are not, pretty much tied together. They have to come in tandem. If they do, then the two will pass. But if the American Jobs Plan comes alone, Nancy Pelosi will simply hold it until the Senate passes the American Families Plan. That is the more stimulus package. That is the social infrastructure package. That is where we could potentially see a stimulus check, or what I'm going to talk about in today's video of a stimulus credit. So let's get into that in a minute. But here's something that I want to really make sure you guys understand. Right now, lawmakers are pushing to just get any bill passed. They're saying that they are pretty much at a standstill until something passes, because the American Jobs Plan, they know what's in it. The problem is how much will be paid for. They don't know that. Lawmakers do not know exactly how much will be paid for and what will go into more of a deficit. So that is a question. Okay, well, can we pass that? No. All right, well, let's put together the American Families Plan. And at this time, according to White House officials, and I brought this up yesterday as well, they are actually stating that committees are working on the finalized text of this bill. Okay, the legislative text. They're working to finalize this, get this done. Hopefully within the next roughly 11 days, this will actually be available to us. We can see it. We know what will be in it, how much it will be, what all will be included, what the American people will get, and whether or not we will be happy or very sad that we waited all this time for either a very good bill or absolutely nothing. But let me bring this up to you. Right now, we have actually very interesting talks. And this is actually a report that is indicating that White House officials are actually considering a stimulus credit. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what's a stimulus credit? That sounds interesting, right? Here's what we know. A stimulus check is obviously a stimulus check. It's, the money that you can go put into the economy, help stimulate the economy. You can get yourself, your family back on track. That is great, and it would come in the form of a check. Here's what we know regarding a stimulus credit. At this time, and again, reports are indicating that lawmakers are having a very tough time coming to an agreement on a fourth stimulus check. And it's not because they don't believe the American people need it. It's not because of that reason. It's actually because right now they don't know how it would be paid for. That's the only reason. They just want to know, well, how would we pay for this? How would we be able to make this work and get moderates to actually go forward with this and agree and support this piece of legislation? Well, they don't know. But here's what you need to understand. A stimulus credit, specifically a tax credit, would be a credit that you get at the end of the year once you file your taxes. Well, first off, it's going to save money because not everybody actually files taxes. Not everybody is going to go through the process and the hurdle to actually get this money. But what we are hearing is that this could be a tax credit very similar to the child tax credit. Again, we don't have a lot of reports on this. There's only 2 reports on this, and right now they're discussing this possible tax credit. It's not something that's for sure thing, let's do it. This is, okay, well, a fourth stimulus check is most likely not going to happen in its normal sense that, okay, we're just going to send you a check for $2,000 or $1,000 or whatever it may be. But what they are saying is right now they want to see a tax credit as a monthly payment very similar to the child tax credit. And according to a few YouTubers this morning, again, I've been up for hours trying to find the details of this, where President Biden says this, but according to a few YouTubers who are actually very, very good, they don't, really clickbait you, okay? But they are actually saying that President Biden wants to see $600 per month per person. Now, let's break that down. Because let's say it's a tax credit for the next year, right? Or for 2021. Well, if it's $600 per month, there's 6 months left in the year. That would bring us to $3,600, right? So what you need to understand is right now, yes, President Biden wants to see additional stimulus. But at the same time, he understands this has to be paid for. No matter how he pays for it, this has to be paid for. That is the one thing that President Biden has stated, is this infrastructure package needs to be fully paid for. Now, What I can tell you at this time is that this stimulus credit is actually considered a decent idea. But again, this is just an idea. This is coming from a report that is coming from White House officials. It's not coming from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. It's not coming from Speaker Pelosi or President Biden himself. Okay? It just says White House officials that this has been discussed. This is something that many people are considering. But again, we don't have plans on it. Maybe this is something that is in the committee's legislative text for the social infrastructure package. But again, we don't know. We just don't know yet. So right now, there's a lot of things that could happen. There's a lot of different reports, but the reports right now don't indicate who would qualify for this potential tax credit, what the tax credit would even be for. Would it be a breathing tax credit? Well, I've been breathing this year, so I'm gonna get a tax credit. We don't know, right? We have no idea what lawmakers are planning to do. We don't know who would get it. We don't know how much it will be. Again, some on YouTube are actually saying that President Biden is wanting to see a $600 per month per person stimulus check or additional stimulus. But is that the stimulus credit? Or is that kind of looking into the child tax credits? Right now, a lot of people aren't really being 100% really upfront with their information. That's the hard part. We don't know. Again, I'm not blaming anybody else, and I'm kind of doing the same thing here as well. So I'm giving you half the information because that's all the information we got. That is all the information that we have right now. So again, it's a struggle to try to figure out what lawmakers are doing, especially what Congress is doing at this time, especially when they're on recess. They're just giving us reports, little snippets. We get videos, we get interviews, we get tweets, right? And trying to put it all together. It's crazy, but that's what we're hearing right now is we could potentially see a new stimulus credit. But again, who gets it? How much is this going to be? What's it for? When is it coming? We just don't know. That's the problem. So what I want you to understand right now is in order to see any of this, a stimulus credit, in order to see free community college, expansion of Medicare, in order to see any of this stuff, possibly a stimulus check, right? In order to see any of this stuff, we must see both infrastructure package pass. We must see them both, okay? Because if they are not both coming, we are not going to get anywhere. And this is one of the reasons why, according to the White House officials yesterday, they are saying that the committees are working to finalize the legislative text, and hopefully this will be done within the next 11 days. Right now, we also know a conservative group is actually opposing this infrastructure package because of the IRS funding. What they are saying is right now, they are trying to get Republicans to pull their support for this bipartisan bill because if there's additional funding for the IRS, it will actually make it easier for the IRS to go after some of these companies as well. Right now, a handful of Republicans are considering pulling their support in a bill that they actually helped draft and prep. But we also know Republicans at this point, according to a video that was done the other day, with a Republican, they are actually considering delaying all infrastructure so that Democrats simply look bad. Well, this is a tactic we've seen before. This is a tactic that was done by Speaker Nancy Pelosi last year with former President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. The problem with this is we see this all the time. We see delay after delay after delay because if we see so many delays, sometimes a particular party will just stop pushing for that bill to be passed and they'll move on to the next one. Now, I don't see that happening here, but it is quite possible. What I can tell you though is if we see Republicans delay, if we see them push back, not support the bill that they help kind of craft, that's going to create issues. Will we see a change to the filibuster? Probably not. Will we see, Democrats push a larger budget reconciliation bill? Possibly. It's quite possible. But again, we don't know till we get a little bit closer. So we will see what happens. But as always, I will fill you in on any updates that we get as we get them. Now, in other news, public health experts are actually anticipating that the Delta variant will surge this fall in the United States. Other countries like Australia, South Africa, and Asia have all reintroduced curfews and done other measures, other safety measures because of these outbreaks. What we do know is that experts say that once the warm weather subsides here in the United States, we will experience similar surges like these other countries. And so experts are saying we have been warned and we must prepare for this. In addition to that, we also recently learned that the Tokyo Olympics will bar any person from in-person viewing. Just a month ago, they said that domestic viewership or spectators were going to be allowed. Anybody coming international obviously couldn't. But due to the possible variants, they're actually saying that Tokyo and the Olympics will pretty much be a petri dish of COVID. And so Tokyo has since changed their minds and barred all spectators. That is actually pretty big, but we'll see what happens there. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Hopefully Tokyo gets out of this okay. But again, many experts say that's probably not likely. So we will see what happens. As I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.